Hey everyone, welcome to Lunchtime. I'm your host, Chris Coraggio. Let's get to it. We are so proud to have our next guest on with us. He is the nephew of Dr. Anthony Fauci. He is Dean Fauci, the director of epidemiology at MIT. Dean Fauci, thanks so much for being on Lunchtime with Chris Coraggio.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. I
Sure.
really appreciate it. I like being here. It's
Yep.
nice for me to be here. I have to tell you two things. I think you're confusing me with my cousin Robert. He's the dean of epidemiology at MIT. I'm
Oh,
with I'm with KFC. Dean is my first name.
I'm sorry. Did you say you're with KFC?
Yeah, I'm the night manager at the KFC in Yonkers, and a lot of times this is not uncommon. People do get it wrong, and I'm here to answer any questions you have about my uncle or whatever we can do to help. But I'm not my cousin at MIT.
So Dean is your first name, you say.
Dean is my first name.
So it's easily confused. I understand that.
Happens a lot. I do a lot of these interviews, and I enjoy
Sure.
doing them, and I appreciate you having me, Chris. And by the way, I thought you were Chris Cuomo, and clearly you're not. You're somebody else.
Now, I guess we're even because this happens a lot too. This show is called Lunchtime with Chris Coraggio. You're thinking of the CNN program called Prime Time with Chris Cuomo.
Oh yeah,
So,
I am. I was.
so we've booked the time. There's been this little bit of miscommunication, but let's just have the interview because you are indeed the nephew of Dr. Anthony Fauci. I do have that correct, right?
That I am. Yes,
Okay,
sir, I am.
great.
Thank
Well,
you for
let's
having me.
let's go from there. So there's some insight that maybe you can bring that no one else has. So this is
Sure.
great that you're on. So we
Sure.
appreciate it. So let me just ask you this: your uncle is one of the most popular men in the world right now. Let's just say maybe over the last 6 months or so, have you got to see him much?
I see all the time. I see him every single day.
Every day? Are you traveling with Dr. Fauci?
Oh no, no, no. I mean on television. I had CNN. He's on all the big channels every day. I don't know if you know that, but he's on all the big channels. So I watch him every single day.
Oh, so when I said, do you see him? I meant literally, are you with him? Do you talk with him?
Oh gosh, no, no. He's a very busy guy, Chris. I don't have a chance to do that. No. I saw him Thanksgiving 2016. The whole family got together. It was a really fun time, and I saw him then. But things were much calmer then. You know that. It's very crazy now with
Sure,
the virus.
sure. And where did you say you're with the KFC in Yonkers? Did you say?
Mhm. And we're
Okay.
opening one up in Staten Island. Don't forget, come to Staten Island when it opens. It's going to
All
be
right.
the best.
I wanted to mark that down.
Yep. We're
Um,
growing like crazy. The
sure,
food is
sure.
really good.
Okay. Let me ask you this. Since you are a Fauci, maybe I know you didn't go into medicine like your uncle, but maybe growing up, did you at one point maybe want to follow in his footsteps?
More than one point, Chris. I always did. As a family, we would always go down to the Jersey Shore. It was a beach time, and he's not a big man, my uncle, and so I would literally walk behind him every single time he's on the beach. He had little feet, and I would just fit right into his footsteps, just like you're saying. So I always did, and it's funny you would know that, but I always did.
So you literally followed in his footsteps. Mine was a figure of speech, just kind of wanted to follow in what he did in life.
Oh no, I didn't want to do that.
Okay. All right. Let's talk about what your uncle talks about each and every day. The social distancing, the wearing of the masks, sheltering in place, depending upon what part of the country you are in. I would imagine you heed his advice. He's your uncle.
Well, yeah, not only is my uncle, he's a very smart man. And so I do heed his advice. I wear a mask. I stay in as much as I can, but when I go out, I'm wearing an N95, but I want an N96. I'm not even confident that the N95 is enough. And so I'm going to order the N96s when they come
Sure.
out because I feel more confident in a bigger number.
Interesting. Interesting. Um, Let me ask you this about maybe with your uncle doing what he does each and every day. I mean, he's the top infectious disease expert in all the land, and most of us just kind of just wait and just do what he says. I
Mhm.
would imagine you have to be so proud of your uncle.
Sure, very proud.
Sure.
But what I would say to that, Chris, is it just as proud as I am of him, he always says he's just as proud of me because we're all out there trying to save lives. I
How
get the
so?
fact,
How so for
well,
you?
Well, I serve people food. If you don't have food, you're going to die. You need to eat to live. And so when people don't have enough food, they're not going to live. So we're both
With all due
fighting for
respect,
life.
with all due respect, you do say food, but I mean, you're making popcorn chicken. You work at one KFC.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you ever had it though? It's delicious. I mean, it really is delicious.
I have, but it's sort of a false equivalency. I think you're trying to make. I mean, your
I'm not
uncle.
making it. I'm not making it. It's what my uncle says. You're just as important as I am. He always says that. You're just as important as me. And you know what? I think he's right. I think your family would think that about you. You're spreading the news. This conversation is very important.
Sure.
We're doing things, saving lives every single day, right? Don't you agree?
Well, maybe you're a better man than me, sir. I'm not saving lives. I'm just doing this program, but I know your uncle is. I know your uncle is. And
I do feed people. People need to eat.
Why don't we just leave it there? Dean Fauci, the night manager at the KFC in Yonkers.
Come to Staten Island when it opens.
Excuse me?
Oh, no, I just come to Staten Island when it opens.
Oh,
you come too.
You have another franchise opening in Staten Island. Okay, great. He is the nephew of Dr. Anthony Fauci, Dean Fauci. That's your first name. We appreciate you being here on Lunchtime with Chris Coraggio.
Thanks for having me.